Good afternoon and welcome to Arthur Eden Oval in Lambton for the second leg of the semi-final series as the second place Lambton Jaffas attempt to overturn a 3-goal first leg deficit against Edgeworth Eagles, who attempt to qualify for their 5th consecutive grand final. And for 57 minutes last weekend, everything was going to script for Lambton Jaffas. A goal up away from home, and for the best defensive side in the competition, this was where they wanted to be. But then a bolt from the blue, a brilliant strike from Will Bauer, and the tie turned on its head. Less than half an hour later, it was 4-1, and the Eagles were on their way to another grand final. Today, the script says Edgeworth will roll into a 5th consecutive decider. No side has ever been down by 3 goals during 2-legged semi-finals in the NPL era. In fact, no side has ever reached the grand final after losing the first leg during the previous 4 seasons. So down on personnel, down on big game experience, and the Jaffas must rip up that script and believe, because today they have the chance to pull off one of the greatest semi-final miracles in northern New South Wales history, and we'll get the opportunity very shortly to see if they can do that. In terms of the lineups, Lambton make 2 changes from last week's defeat, and they are both forced. Will McFarlane, a big loss. He's out with a hamstring injury suffered late in that match, while Finn Paris, he injured his ankle last week. He's also out. That means Isaac Sefo and Nathan Verity come into the side. And for Edgeworth, 3 changes for them. Skipper Josh Evans is back and apparently as fit as ever, according to his coach. Former Jets youth teammates Tyson Jackson and Adam Corley come from the bench into the starting side. Tyson Jackson scored last week in that win, and that means Liam Spurway, Keanu Moore, Aaron Apetesano all back on the bench. Referee for this one is James Clearly. You can see both sides getting last-minute instructions in the huddle. Very windy at Arthur Eden Oval this afternoon and around the region. 51-kilometre-an-hour winds from the northwest. So that will suit Lambton in this first half. I'll run from left to right in there. Bright yellow kit with the brown sleeves. 18 degrees currently the temperature, so the wind just taking a little bit off that. 18 degrees in the sun. Probably feels a little bit colder than that out there. You can see the ball rolling off the centre circle, showing how strong the wind is. Ollie Smith gets us underway in the second leg. Lambton Jaffas, can they overturn this 3-goal deficit? No side has ever gone down in the first leg in the last 4 seasons and qualified for a grand final. They're going to have to change that if they are to make it for the second time in 3 seasons. And avoid defeat to the Eagles for a second season in a row in the finals. Of course, they played in the grand final back in 2017. Lambton won on that occasion. Josh Evans gets his first touch back from being with the RAF, away for a few months now. Pat Wheeler dropping it back to Sam Maxwell. So you can see Pat Wheeler is playing a little higher this afternoon in that defensive midfield role. Usually plays at centre half, but with Josh Evans back, he's been pushed up the park. Josh Rose trying to find Ollie Smith. Rolls it wide to Tyson Jackson. One of 3 changes for the Eagles for this afternoon's clash. Remembering 2 weeks ago, they were beaten 3-0 here by Lambton. They were without a glut of players, the Eagles, that afternoon, as the ball just runs away there from Will Bauer. Such is the strength of this wind. Now, I'm not doing this match solo. Chris Turner will be joining me shortly. He's just collecting some donations for the Moving Mountains Walk for Ash Tressida. Wonderful initiative that he's been promoting this weekend, today and tomorrow. We'll be taking donations at this match, and also if you're heading out to Maitland tomorrow, look out for CT. Here's Josh Rose. Now Maxwell. That one's been caught in the breeze and will cross the line. Lambton coming into this one having lost just once in their last 6, and it probably came at the worst time last week in a 30-minute period. conceding 4 goals, less than that. 26 minutes and 4 goals conceded, and it really hurt. They need a 3-goal scoreline their way and not to concede if they want to get through. So very important for them not to concede early here. Edgeworth with a bit of possession, as Will Barrett was his goal that turned the tie last week. Stunning strike to break a goal drought for him. Wheeler finds Gardner. Now Maxwell. Tried to feed it in behind Josh Sutton. Now Pat Wheeler. He's going to drop it in front of Bauer. Under some pressure from the Kiwi Brock Messenger. Good skill from Bauer to deliver into the middle. It was Odell getting across for the Jaffas. Now Crowley. Isaac Sifo, who chips it up the line looking for Lambton's leading goal scorer and also the golden boot in the NPL Northern New South Wales. 14 during the regular season, scored the opener last week. Seems a long time ago now. Josh Rose, who scored in each of the semi-final legs against Lambton last season. That equaliser, you might remember, late on in the second leg, descended into extra time with Lambton destined for the grand final, it seemed. What a second leg that was. If we can get half as much drama this afternoon as we did last week, we're in for quite a show. It's Maxwell. He's been outstanding since he's come back from injury. You can see his left thigh heavily strapped. Rose misplaces a pass on a rare occasion. Here's Smith. Got away from Odell. Shifted the pass wide to Jackson. Now Gardner. Trying the lines from Gardner, finds Fabrizio, who scored his first goal in the NPL Northern New South Wales last week, late on, and good pressure from him. Spent a lot of time out with an ACL injury, almost a year and a half. Injured that back playing in Canberra for the NYL side. Horrible, horrible injury. One of his teammates, Don Bazzari, recovering from that at the moment. He'll be back next season as we see this ball curled in. It's going to be tough set pieces into the wind this afternoon. And now Josh Evans in a foot race. And he's going to win that foot race against Anthony Wood. Ball will beat him over the byline. And a goal kick for Edgeworth. CT, you've been doing some terrific work. I'm not going to bag you out for being late because you've been doing some wonderful work. Just tell us firstly what you've been up to. I did explain before, but just to the viewers, you have, an outstanding piece of work that you've put together for the whole weekend.
Yeah, thank you, and welcome everyone this afternoon. Yeah, we've been collecting some money for Ashley Tressida, who was injured in a tragic accident. And so his mates, and I'll touch on this in the second half part, but his mates are collecting money to go have a walk for Ash down to the marathon, from Marathon Stadium down to the Central Coast Mariners. So that's what's happening there. They've asked me along, which I'm very grateful to be a part of, and really appreciate the support of everyone here at this ground today, putting their hands in their pockets for him, and great cause. The men of football have been doing their share as well in helping him out. So look, I'll touch on it in the second half, but that's what we've been up to. Great cause and for a great guy, and very excited to be able to help facilitate some of that.
Yep, wonderful work. As Brad Swancott in his swan song at Arthur Eden Oval. The Swancott Swan Song this afternoon. Ben Kennedy will take over as the Jaffas keeper next season. He's on the bench this afternoon. And I can tell you, if Swancott had have played every match, he had the chance to win the Bill Marnie Goalkeeper of the Year award, as we see Braden Crowley go down to the byline. He kept 6 clean sheets Nate Archbold from Charlestown kept 7. So Swancott's kept 6. Ben Kennedy has kept 2. So that's Lambton all up with 8, which is the most in the league. But they've split it between the 2 keepers. Well, not quite split it, but you know what I'm saying. So we see Messenger down towards the byline. So if it wasn't for Ben Kennedy coming in, and Swancott played more matches, well, he was a real chance of going out in his final season as goalkeeper of the year. Take nothing away from Nate Archbold. He has had a wonderful season. So we see Tyson Jackson knock the pass around to Wheeler and now Will Bauer, but usually the goalkeeper of the year award goes to the team with the best defence, and Lambton has had the best defence this season. It's just the fact that they've had 2 goalkeepers that has meant that they haven't won the goalkeeper of the year award along with that. Swancott searching for Messenger. But CT, just tell us your thoughts on this match this afternoon. Lambton, of course, having that poor 26-minute period last week where they conceded 4 goals. It turned the tie. It was Will Bauer's goal which just turned the tie. Got it back to 1-1 after Braden Crowley opened the scoring for Lambton, and it was curtains from that point forward. Can you see them making a fist of it this afternoon? And, well, it would be a miracle, wouldn't it, if they won and got through to the grand final?
Well, you're going to say it's a big ask. It is. However, the amount of chances that Lambton had last week they scored the first goal. Josh Sutton went close. Crowley actually before the goal. So there's 3 right there in the space of about 10 minutes of play where Lambton were in front. Now, the important thing for them to do now is to score first. I think if Edgy just score first, then it's going to be mentally tough as well as anything for Lambton. Can they do it? Yeah, I think they can, but is it likely? It's going to be tough, but it's certainly doable. And I've seen a lot of strange things in sport to know that I'm not going to write off this Lambton side. They've got a lot of quality in it. Swancott in his swan song game, as you said, Bart. And yeah, I don't know, but it's either way. We do know the previous outing here, Lambton won 3-0. So different surface, different day, and it's windy, and it's a bit bumpier than what they experienced last week. But
here's Messenger. Now Remington. And Lambton's record here at Arthur Eden has been superb this season. Just 1 loss, but it wasn't technically a home match. They were actually undefeated at home, but they did lose to the Jets Youth. That was technically an away match, so you could say they did lose once here at Arthur Eden this season, but that's a pretty good record. 8 wins, 2 draws in their designated home fixtures. And they haven't lost to Edgeworth here since 2016. Really, really good record in that period of time. 2017 they played here in round 2. Jaffas won 2-1, and then last season there was a Jaffas 4-3 win and a draw in the semis. And then earlier this year, 2 weeks ago, they got the job done 3-0. So they have the wood over Edgeworth here, and here is a card coming the way of Pat Wheeler, who's collected Anthony Wood, and he's not in a good way. James Clear quickly across to check on him. Now this would be a huge blow because Lambton's casualty ward, I'll just run through it. So Finn Paris and Will McFarlane, they're both out after injuries last week. Then they've got Michael Kandarowski, Bren Hamill, Andrew Powiak, James Pendrew. Edgeworth, Dylan Holtz, he's out. He's overseas, actually. Daniel McBreen, he's with Guam as well. He's with Guam. Dylan Holtz is overseas. Don Bazari with that ACL. And then they've got a couple of other guys who have headed to play overseas in Mitch Dobson and Jose Atadi.
Both sides missing players, there's no doubt about that, but I do know they welcome back Edgeworth, Josh Evans, and what a big add to the side that he's...
Apparently he's as fit as ever, CT. That's what Damien Zane has said.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Zaney about Josh Evans, whether, you know, how much of a touch he's had on the ball. There's one thing being fit, which no doubt he would be, but you'd like to think he's still getting on top of the football and getting it knocked around and staying in touch. just the fine moments in the games. You don't want your touch to let you down.
He's 32 years of age, showing no signs of slowing down. Sam Maxwell launches this one into the breeze. Just hung up there nicely, and now Smith shoulder to shoulder with Remington. Geez, strong, isn't he, Luke Remington, for a man who's short in stature, but very, very strong physically. Was able to hold off a bigger man in Ollie Smith.
Strong and tough as well. He's not going to pull out mentally or physically.
Well, you remember that goal he scored for the Joeys back the World Cup almost 8 years ago now. The backflip, scored that goal against Denmark. The Joeys actually off to the World Cup again this year, incidentally. Here's Rose. But one thing we've noticed this year is the talent that is coming through, because a lot of sides have had injuries. They've given young guys a go, and it's been wonderful to see. Both here at Lambton, Edgeworth, Magic as well. There's Adam Corley herring after the ball. Now Bauer. Fabrizio, he's not going to get past Remington. Really strong tackle from him. Free kick going the way of Lambton, handball in there. How do you rate the talent coming through, CT? Because you've seen a lot of it this year.
Well, that's true, isn't it? We have seen a lot of talent come through this year, and I remember thinking about 12, 14 years ago, it was just wave after wave.
Nathan Verity across goal, and what an opportunity that was for Lambton. They're going to get a corner. Verity just angling in, found plenty of space in behind. We might come back to that thought in a second. Very easy there for Nathan Verity. He's back in the starting side. He was on the bench last week. Here's the corner dipping in. Josh Sutton couldn't quite just angle that ball across goal. Yeah, tell us more.
Yeah, so I was just saying that I really took a notice when I was coaching in the under-23s age group about 12 years ago, I think it was, and just the wave of players that had come through, and every year you just see a new wave of footballers coming through that you'd not seen before, because unlike some of the coaches around here, I didn't spend a lot of time looking through the younger groups, just sort of waiting for them as they came through, and now sort of being a lot more aware of it. The amount of talent that's coming through our ranks, through the Jet system, through the clubs and their junior programs. Clubs are working very, very hard to develop the skills of the young players, and you hear a lot of debate about, you know, being very robotic and playing very similar styles. And not to get into that one now, but there's certainly a lot of talent coming through, and this year has been a good distribution of that amongst the clubs.
It's been wonderful to see, and let's hope they go on and do big things. As Corley curling it across. It's always a constant discussion point, the health of Australian football and the youth coming through, and I'm not going to go into that now because we could be going for a few hours, but it's just been good to see some young guys get a chance in the NPL Northern New South Wales. One of those, Anthony Wood, and he's rushing away down the near side, but Josh Evans hooks that one clear. Messenger hasn't scored a goal since his time in Finland, hangs it across, and it was Josh Sutton who scored 5 goals this year. First season in the NPL after playing with Bell Swans, who are actually in the grand final tomorrow against Cooks Hill, CT.
Yeah, massive day for New FM tomorrow, and a massive day for Cooks Hill. They've got a team in all 3 grades. And on the back end of the announcement of Graham Law being head coach of Azuri next year.
They want to
Without
send him
getting
out.
into that debate we were talking about with the development of youth, I did get a message from Michael Kane from 10U's, who was saying that he's doing a documentary about when soccer died, and it's a new documentary to lift the lid of Australian football. from the World Game. And they certainly interviewed a big range of footballers, coaches, all sorts of people to get their views and opinions.
Love it.
Looking forward to that one coming out. Hopefully sometime within the next 12 months would be great. Anyway, look forward to that.
Yeah, strong contact on that far side of the ground. Free kick going the way of Lambton. And the wind is coming from, if you have just joined us, from basically the top left-hand corner of the screen, just straight across the ground. It is behind Lambton.
Yeah, we've got a northwesterly breeze here, but gusting up to 40 kilometres an hour. It was somewhere.
I had 50. I had 50 when I checked earlier.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It's sort of gusting quite strong. But as you say, northwest diagonally from the way you're viewing it, left shoulder down to across the park down to the right.
And CT, we've got a viewer watching from overseas. I just had a message on WhatsApp. A current Edgeworth player. He's, of course, the assistant coach of Guam, Daniel McBreen, and Guam played their first World Cup qualifier against the Maldives. I'll just fill you in on that shortly. It's during the week. Here is Braden Crowley. The number on his back, the exact amount of goals he scored during the regular season, 14, as Pat Wheeler pushes up the ground now for the Eagles. Drops it back inside for Aidan Gardner, who has been a revelation this season after struggling since he left Edgeworth back in 2017 it was.
Now, Bart, if you're in text with Macca at the moment, can you confirm if Edgeworth does make the grand final that he'll be back?
Well, I believe he will be, and he is watching, so Daniel McBreen, if you're watching, send me a WhatsApp and tell me if you're going to play in the grand final. But Guam went down to the Maldives 1-0 in their first World Cup qualifier. Of course, the Aussies in that same area of qualification. They're in a pool with the Philippines, China and Syria. And it was Ibrahim Mahadhi who scored the winner for the Maldives. CT, I know you know him well.
I know the Maldives well because that's where I went on my honeymoon a couple of years ago.
You didn't see the national side playing?
No, I didn't know they had one, but I know they've got good waves over there, that's for sure.
Yes, well, Guam are playing against the Philippines in Guam, 3:30 p.m. our time on Tuesday. If you want to check that out. Tuesday, 3:30 p.m. Maldives against the Philippines. So this one here, well, it's just sort of travelling along. Edgeworth with a 4-1 advantage. Lambton really need a goal to spring this match to life, because at the moment, Edgeworth are pretty happy just to knock the ball around and kill time.
Yeah, exactly right, Bart. And you said it is just moving along. That's about what it is. Lambton really needs to get on the board as soon as they can and not concede. So you can see they're doing everything they can in their defence to keep things locked up.
Well, it's going to take a miracle if Lambton are to get the job done here. Nathan Verity, and it's up there with the Ben Stokes level of miracle, coming back from 3-0 down. Of course, the third test of the Ashes, CT. You remember that, Ben Stokes?
Certainly do. Someone calling it the best English cricketing session.
Well, if an English player does well, normally it's the best ever.
Anything. Yeah, that's true.
Anything, so.
Yeah, he did crush us, that's for sure. So Palms were pretty happy about that.
Yes, precisely.
This game here, however, is just panning out perfectly for Edgeworth at the moment. They've got control of the football. They're in no rush. They're just controlling the pace when they've got the ball. As we see with Evans here, he's certainly happy just to chew every second of this game, and as long as they can control the tempo and the pace of this game, more it's going to suit them. They'd love to go in at half-time at this scoreline here at this park on this day at 0-0, because that'll send them a long, long way into a grand final in their heads if they can do that, get to half-time, and certainly shaping that way at the moment.
Well, I'd say they've got 1 foot in the grand final at the moment. If it's 0-0 at half-time, well, it's almost 2. We know that things can turn around quickly, but it's so difficult for Lambton, especially with the personnel that they are lacking. They're going to have to. It's going to have to be some young boys alongside the experience of Crowley and Remington. We're going to have to turn this in the Jaffas' favour as Josh Rose pushes up the ground. And there's a problem here for Braden Crowley. And he is crawling, and it's his right ankle that he's clutching, and that reaction looks terrible. The fact that he can't actually get up to his feet. Well, he can't even stand, CT. This would be awful for Lambton, and I'll tell you what, it'd probably sum up the season if...
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with him. He seems to be fiddling with his boot, and he may have copped some studs through it. The referee's gone, play on, so he thinks he's okay. We'll just keep an eye on him.
Well, was he limping, or was he just trying to get his boot? Yeah, he is limping.
He's limping heavily.
Is it one that he can run out? Maybe it will be, because he's got a lot better in the last 30 seconds or so. He barely could walk about a minute ago. You've got the binoculars on at CT to see if you can catch a replay of what exactly happened. We tick over the halfway point in this first half of the second leg. Now Pat Wheeler looking up and finding Fabrizio. Has Ollie Smith in the middle. Tried to find him, but found Nathan Verity's boot instead, and it will be a throw for the Eagles. So Lambton heading towards a fifth consecutive, I should say Edgeworth heading towards a fifth consecutive grand final if they can get through the 90 minutes. Rose. And it's hard, isn't it, CT? Because Lambton don't want to concede early. They concede, and it's almost curtains as Corley across goal. Tom Waller quickly trying to find Braden Crowley, but Will Bauer was swiftly across to win back possession for the Eagles. So what's the ploy? When do you really start to open up as Lambton coach James Pascoe? When do you tell your side, all right, let's go for it? Because you can't go for it from the start, because you concede early, game over. Well,
the situation is this game, we're well into it, and we'll get to the minute. 25 minutes in, if Edgeworth go in at half-time still 0-0 or better, you think it's about curtains for Lambton. To answer your question, Bart, probably earlier than now, and really Lambton needs to start opening the game up. So the way that they can do this is a couple of ways. Some people may go direct and play some long balls. I'm not saying that that's the way, but what you want to do ideally is possibly play an extra one up front, put some pressure on the back line, stay as high on the line as you can, and get some balls into feet, get some triangles bounced off them, and then get in behind them. Get balls played in on the deck on a day like today. Play the ball in, slide behind, and get the Edgeworth defence turning. If you can do that, that's your chance to score goals. At the way that it's going right now, Edgeworth are just taking control, and there's no real pressure. Crowley's not going to beat them 1v3. So I'd change the formation, get an extra one, possibly two up front, maybe a 4-3-3, and see if you can change the game up that way, because at the moment it's Edgeworth playing into their hands.
Well, for a moment then I actually thought Lambton were playing a 4-3-3. You could see Josh Sutton over on the left, Cepho in the centre, and Crowley over here on the right.
Okay, I'll be more specific. Having three absolute right up high on the front, on the back line of Edgeworth, and then getting some balls into their feet. So it means your midfield is going to slide a little higher. Getting balls dropped back into the midfield, possibly in a triangular direction, as I was talking about, and try and slide the ball in behind their defence. Once you start turning their defence around, that's when they start to think, okay, these guys are here to score some goals. And if you can do that, not easy to do, by the way, but if you can do that, just maybe their best opportunity is to get some goal-scoring chances, because just at the moment, we haven't seen a whole lot.
No, they had that glimmer when Nathan Verity found some space down the left, but apart from that, there's been barely a thing for Lambton. The captain Sessions. Now Odell. Here's Brock Messenger. Wood started the season at Adamstown. Now Sefo, can he drop it over the head of Sutton? Not a bad delivery. Josh Lowe had to come out and claim, and the Eagles goalkeeper stood tall.
Great delivery into the box there, and that ball with the wind pretty much right behind the strike. Certainly worth an attempt. Putting Lowe under a bit of pressure, and that's what Lambton have got to do. They've really got to get the ball up into the top third of the park and be playing in that area.
Rose to Smith. The one thing that has amazed me this year, CT, is the pitch is so dusty. The pitches around the league are so dusty at this point of the season. In years gone by, it's been muddy because of the amount of rain that we've had, but it's just been so dry. I know we had a downpour last week, but really that has all just dried out this week and turned to dust, all the mud.
Yeah, well, the other thing, we're going to Maitland tomorrow. Be sure to catch that if you get the opportunity, because that's going to be a great game. Maitland v Broadmeadow in their second leg. Maitland's ground is immaculate. It is just absolutely stunning, as we saw from Edgeworth last week. Their ground.
They've done a wonderful job, both clubs, at getting their ground to top-notch condition. And CT, we're looking forward to heading up to Maitland, but that's as long as we're not blown away.
Yeah, another windy day expected tomorrow, and Windy Hill will probably... I guess the big difference now between, say, 5-10 years ago is the pitch. And pitch, even though it'll be windy.
Well, here's Pat Wheeler pushing forward. Corley back to Wheeler, the man who hasn't scored in the NPL in 10 years. Hasn't scored since the 2009 season, Pat Wheeler. I've been waiting for about 5 years for him to break that drought, but he's still unable to find the back of the net in the NPL. Will it happen this afternoon? Because we know he's pushed into that holding midfield role with Josh Evans back. Here's Rose. Good defensive work from Liam Odell, the former Mariners Youth product. Corley now finds that man Wheeler. Maxwell drives it between the lines to Smith, who turns and snaps, and not far away. He's saying it was touched by Swancott. James Cleal saying no, it wasn't, and it will just be the goal kick.
It's a great effort there from Smith. He's got himself into great position. His body angle was good, just opened up enough room to get a strike on goal. And he did claim that Swancott touched that. Swanee's not going to give that away, especially in his last game. He'll take matters into his own hands. Either way, it's gone wide.
13 goals this season. Sorry.
13. Is that a yawn, Bart?
It was a little bit. 13 goals this season for Ollie Smith. And if he didn't do that silly thing at Valentine, and he regrets it, he knows exactly what he did wrong. Round 20 against Valentine, got sent off for a headbutt. Probably would have gone close to claiming the golden boot, and that disappoints me a little bit because I actually predicted him to get the golden boot at the start of the year. So
I love the way you're trying to recover from your yawn there, and that's not an indication of the game. And I tell you, you can do that on Fox Sports, mate, but you can't do that here on Bar TV.
Here's the ball curled in. Messenger rising at the back post off the bar, followed in by Remington, and then Josh Sutton has hit Luke Remington in the... I thought he got him between the legs there. Remington hasn't reacted at all. It's a bit of comedy in the end, and it's going to be a free kick for Edgeworth. And I had a nap, CT. I had a nap this afternoon.
Well, it's all happening down the end in the goal mouth, and you're having a yawn. Speaking of comedy that you just mentioned, Bart, I've found out why eggs don't tell jokes, because they crack each other up.
that was not too bad, actually. That's one of your better ones. There's Pat Wheeler. Remington. Now to Wood. Inside to Josh Sutton. He burst onto the scene a few years back, CT, in that grand final Bell Swans had against Wallsend, where we gave him man of the match in that defeated side when Dave Hodgson led Wallsend, won in a penalty shootout at Jack McLaughlin Oval.
Yeah, he sure did. And he's continued on with it. His pace is just electrifying, and he gets in good position. So it's obviously what caught the eye of Jim Pascoe.
Will Bauer reining the ball in. Now curling it, and it's going to curl around almost in front of Ollie Smith. The flag was up from the assistant, but Smith in the end didn't get a touch. 2013 Bill Marnie Goalkeeper of the Year, Brad Swancott. Zodell in his third season at Lambton. Credit to the Jaffas after the turnover of players that they had at the end of last season, with the Griffiths brothers deciding not to play on. Joe Wheelhouse as well. And they finished the regular season in second place. And while it hasn't gone to plan thus far in the finals, it's been a really good season from them, because if you look at the roster, a lot of people probably didn't expect them to make the top four based on the quality around the competition this season. The depth across the top six as Bauer hangs it up towards the back post. Would you class that as an overachievement for Lambton, finishing second? You look at the rosters behind them on the table. Edgeworth finished third, Magic in fourth. Both those two would have been expected to finish above Lambton in the regular season. So I think James Pascoe and his coaching staff can be proud of this season, even if it ends this afternoon.
Oh, without a doubt. Lambton have performed well. They had some games where they really ground them out, and I think they thoroughly deserve to be in second spot. And if you ask anyone from the club, I'm sure they'd say the same thing.
Rose gets the boot up. Now Crowley brought it down. Angled the pass wide to Sefo. Decides against bending one in. Finds Luke Remington. Playing more of a central role this afternoon. We're so often seeing Luke Remington playing out wide, but more of a ball-playing role this afternoon. And I don't mind the look of it, to be honest. I think he's a quality player wherever he is on the park. Over a number of years he has been that for Lambton in grand final winning sides. Maxwell was going to let that one run over the line, and he did well enough. So Josh Lowe to get us back underway. CT, Damien Smith, of course, not with us this afternoon. He is going to be back tomorrow for the big match at Maitland.
Yeah, that's because Magic are playing. He'll be there.
And Maitland, his hometown club, so whoever wins, he'll be happy, and he'll claim that in the grand final.
Yeah, it'll be good to have him on, our special guest, Smudge.
Exactly. I think 2 years ago, because last year he claimed that the grand final win was all his doing with Magic getting the job done. Then 2 years ago was Lambton. What did he say his connection to Lambton was? Didn't he say like he had lunch with James Pascoe once or something like that?
Or he met him somewhere one day.
So go Lambton. How good's that? He was quickly off the Edgeworth bandwagon, wasn't he? 2016 he was on the Edgeworth bandwagon a year later, and it was all Lambton.
Well, I'll tell you who's not off the Edgeworth bandwagon is a former player for Edgeworth and Newcastle Breakers, great Mark Wilson. He's over in WA, but
Power curling it across. It's going to beat everyone. Yes, he is.
He's over in Western Australia.
Over there.
That's right. It's exactly what he's doing. And this is the thing that I love about TV. Legends of our game, wherever you are around the world, can pick it up and tune in. And he's likely to be there enjoying a cold beer on a Saturday afternoon in Western Australia. Or it might be still morning over there. I'm not sure about daylight difference, yeah. But he'll be over there enjoying this one live, kicking the Eagles home as he always does. And what a great player he's been, and wouldn't Edgeworth love to have him out there today? The skill, the timing, his ability to read the games, his work rate he was known for, there's no doubt, and he could score goals, and that's why he's such a great player in this region and for our city for such a long time. And good to see him over there in the new chapter of his life, teaching and still involved with the football over in WA, but doing some coaching. So that's great for him, and I know he stays very close to the Edgeworth faithful and keeps everyone in tune with what he's up to as well. So big shout out to him.
And I can tell you, CT, that a son of one of his former teammates is going to be given the opportunity potentially to play some first grade football this afternoon in Aidan Halpin, the son of Troy Halpin. Might get a look at him a little bit later as Josh Sutton's heavy touch is going to take that over the byline. It's just not going Lambton's way.
Well, that is, and I can tell you something that Troy Halpin said of Wilson was the kind of guy, this is a quote, kind of guy you want to play with, that had the respect of most players around the country. And Wilson then replied with, Wilson considers Halpin the best player in the league. And he's talking about the National League there in that day, and you wouldn't get too many arguments there from Troy Halpin. Good mates, those two, and played a lot of football together.
And Troy Halpin, of course, a former Socceroo. Finished his career with Edgeworth alongside Mark Wilson. Damien Zane would have been in that side as well. Current coach Pat Wheeler, I think, was just coming through the ranks at that point in time. It's Nathan Verity takes on a couple as the wind seems to increase in intensity. As Remington, ball in blocked by Maxwell. Now Verity trying to curl one in. He hangs it up in the breeze. Low goes up and gobbled it up in the end quite comfortably. 13 clean sheets for him in his early NPL days. 35th match this afternoon. Could be on his way to a 14th if his defence holds firm alongside him this afternoon. Inside the final 7 minutes until half-time.
Now, Bart, just for anyone maybe thinking they'll tune out in the second half, please don't, because at the end of the game, there's something very special going to happen here. I'm not going to give it away, but it involves Edgeworth, one of their players, and something very exciting for one of those players and his family.
Yes.
Immediately after the game, so stay tuned.
Now, hang on. Here's Sutton finding a half chance. That was just the half chance Lambton wanted. Anthony Wood couldn't quite reel it in. Yes, CT, I'm looking forward to that. So if you are, a little bit tired and you're not that excited at the moment because the match is sort of going along at a little bit of a slow pace,
stay tuned. And I can tell you it's a first for Bar TV.
It is.
And they don't know about it yet. So if we haven't been kicked off before, today's a huge chance. Don't worry, boys, back in the studio. It's all clean, but it's all good. But yeah, stay about. This is going to be a cracker.
It will be. So straight after full time, do not go anywhere. We've got a big revelation. A big revelation. World first on Bar TV. There's been proposals. This is a step better than a proposal.
Well, that wrap it up too much, Bart, but it's certainly out there. Don't go away.
Here's Sam Maxwell. And now Corley. Messenger did well enough. Michael Sessions gets the clearance up the ground. Cepho on the turn. Now they've got a 3-on-3 here, Lambton. Rolls it in front of Sutton, who's in a foot race. What a strike from Josh Sutton. It wasn't far away. He beat Josh Evans for pace. You don't see that too often.
We spoke earlier about Sutton's pace, and he just used it to full effect right there. He just did everything right except get it on target. Lowe was stranded.
And CT, we talk in cricket terms. When you're batting and you make a low total, you've got to take all your chances when you're bowling. When you're behind by 3, you have got to take every chance. And that was a half chance that had to be taken by Josh Sutton.
Well, I agree.
Sorry about the analogy, but here's Remington. Curling it, Messenger, across goal, Crowley. Well, that was almost identical to the goal he scored last week, and now that's a bit comedic. Was it a penalty? Well, Clairless pointed to the spot. Now, I thought two Lambton players got in each other's way here.
They did. The referee's got this one wrong.
And he
needs to talk to the lines lady. So justice prevailed here. So
yes, so well, that's a good. Well, Damien Zane, you don't see him get out of the technical area too often, and he was up and out.
Something you don't see every day, Bart.
And let's defend the referee. If he's got his vision blocked and he sees a man go down in the box and feet around that kind of area, well, sometimes you're going to make that decision. But credit to him. He said, I made a mistake, and he gives a drop ball to Edgeworth. I think you should be applauded for that, CT.
Well, look, that's just the best thing that he's done is he's gone and consulted because he wasn't sure, and he's now just stamping his authority on the game. So he's doing all the right things here now as Cleel. And I like the fact that he wasn't quite sure. There was obviously a lot of confusion around, particularly from the Edgeworth players, and he goes and consults with the lines lady and gets that one right.
Here's Cepho. That is sometimes difficult for a referee when you make that decision. So often you're told to stick with it. So credit to James Cleel for reversing his original verdict. Here's Verity. That ball overhit. And probably that bit of confusion and frustration from Edgeworth at the decision just shielded this period of time where Lambton are just slowly working their way forward and creating some chances, CT. This has probably been their best period of the match, just before half-time. And this was a period where they really needed to step up. And I'm sure James Pascoe would have spoken to his side and said, 5 minutes before half-time, let's really go for it. Because if we can go in up by a goal, it's big.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it changes your mindset coming out in the second half because not only have you got a full job to do, you've just reduced your load just a fraction. It gives them some hope.
Sutton. Now Cepho has Tom Waller in behind him, but the pass was misplaced, and then Waller tried to backheel to get out of that one. He did well. And now Josh Sutton, who had that great chance before, cuts it across. Crowley was waiting there. And CT, that opportunity for Braden Crowley, it was almost identical to the goal he scored last week at Edgeworth, wasn't it? 45 degrees on the right side of goal, and he just had an air swing this afternoon.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's where Lambton needed one right now. And just looking around, you can't see on the screen. There's a lot of people from Broadmeadow Magic here, and Michael Kikowski and crew down there, the excavation specialists. If you need them, please give them a call. Kickoff will look after you. But there are a lot of people at the ground from Broadmeadow here. It's great to see a good crowd. As you're looking at it, there's probably about 3 on the other side of the park. But a good crowd in behind us in the grandstand, etc.
Just a question there. Crowley going to ground alongside Josh Evans, and Josh Evans saying that he was grabbing hold of me as well in that fall to the ground. It looked pretty soft from up here, so good decision from James Cleel not to point to the spot. As we move towards half-time in this second leg, NPL Northern New South Wales, Lambton Jaffas against Edgeworth Eagles. The same semi-final matchup as last season, and on that occasion it was Lambton who were ahead in the tie, I should say. On this occasion it is all Edgeworth. They won the first leg 4-1. They go in at half-time 0-0, and Lambton are going to need 3 second half goals and cannot concede. Half-time at Arthur Eden Oval. Lambton Jaffas 0, Edgeworth Eagles 0. It's going to be an uphill battle, but the good news for Lambton is they haven't conceded. That's a good thing for them, but they're going to have to come out and throw caution to the wind, pardon the pun.
Yeah, they are. They're going to have to come out and they've got to go after it. I mean, from Edgeworth's point of view, they've done everything they needed to. They wanted to come in at half-time, at least with no goals conceded. They'd like to get one, but they've done that. They've conceded 0. They're certainly in the box seat. Lambton really need to come out, and unless they can pull out something in the next 45 minutes that's going to change things the way they were playing, it's going to be the end of their season. So they'll come out expecting a lot more attack from Lambton in the second half, but they'll need to, because there's no tomorrow if they don't.
Well, surely they have to just go for it, don't they, CT? They just have to come out all guns blazing and go, well, whatever happens, happens here.
Yeah, sure. They might as well get beat by 10 as lose by, an aggregate -1. So, yeah, they need to come out and go for it second half. That's what'll make it interesting. So we'll just see what the tactics of Pascoe are going to be when they return in the second half.
All right, well, we'll return in about 10 minutes, 0-all here at halftime, but it's Edgeworth up 4-1 on aggregate. We'll catch you soon. Welcome back to Arthur Eden Oval. It's the second leg of this semi-final between the second place Lambton Jaffas and the third placed Edgeworth Eagles, and it is the third placed Eagles. They both finished on the same points. A very good season from both sides, but it is Edgeworth up 4-1 on aggregate as it stands at the moment. 0-0 currently, and Lambton have got a mountain to climb in the second half. Chris Turner, can they climb it? Or is it going to be a fifth consecutive grand final appearance for Edgeworth Eagles?
If they're going to climb it, they've got to start climbing real quick, because Edgeworth will just be looking for more of the same. Tempo, keeping control, keeping possession. That's what they did well all first half. This Lambton side have really got to come at them now, and there's no tomorrow if they don't. So it'll be interesting to see how they're going. You can see now they're playing with three guys high. Sutton, Crowley, particular.
Well, it's almost four, isn't it?
Well, just about. So this is what we're talking about in the first half. This is a great way to certainly put some pressure on the back four. Problem is, if you're easily caught, and you'll be loaded in the middle of the park for Edgeworth, whereas Lambton be a bit skinnier at the back, which looks like they're just playing with the three at the back, which is a smart move. Do
you back in the speed of Michael Sessions and Liam O'Dell and say, all right, you boys push up? Michael Sessions is a very fast man.
That's for sure, he is, and you've just got to rely on that. You can't normally, defence first, attack second. That's kind of how it normally happens, but in this arrangement now, you've got to attack first and think defence second. So that's where Lambton are at. As I said before, but it doesn't matter if you lose by 10 or 1 on today's game, you're out tomorrow. So they've got to score, and the earlier the better they can for Lambton. And for Edgeworth, just holding them clean is about what they'll be looking to do.
And a dull and not very entertaining first half was one which suited Edgeworth, and a similar second half will suit them right down to the ground as well. We've got 2 balls on the pitch.
And if you have just joined us, don't leave this one, because at the end of this game, we've got a Bar TV first, and Bart...
Might be a TV first.
It could be. Who knows? And
I wouldn't call it TV.
Back in the studio, probably shaking, thinking, what have these guys got happening?
Oh, Nathan Verity and Maxwell. That was a strong collision there, and Verity across goal, and Cepho, well, he almost squeezed that inside. But Josh Lowe seemed for a moment like he had it covered, but that would have squeezed inside if the ball had have had a bit more spin. It was curling awkwardly well.
There was an almost, and look at Nathan Verity there, that big strong tackle, and then he gets through some defenders somehow, and then pinpoint delivery, and full marks to him.
Well, crucial ball in, and it is an absolute shocker. An absolute shocker from Tom Waller. And I tell you what, I don't think there's been one good corner this afternoon, CT. And I can't blame the players, because a 50-kilometre-an-hour wind from the northwest does not make that an easy feat. That was basically straight into the breeze. Very difficult for skill execution this afternoon. Sessions to Nathan Verity, who's created some chances down the left in this match. In the first half, he created one for Josh Sutton, and then there for Isaac Cepho. Messenger with Wood alongside him. Here's Waller. And we're speaking of Daniel McBreen in the first half, CT. He will be back from Guam on Thursday. So the grand final on Sunday at Magic Park. I would expect he'll probably start from the bench in the grand final, should Edgeworth make it through this one. What would you do? Would you start him? He did start in that match against the Newcastle Jets. Or would you say, we'll bring you off the bench?
You know what? I would start him, and I would give him every minute that he was capable of, and I'd let him tell me when he's had enough, rather than give him the last 15 or 20, because he might have 30 or 40 or 50 in him. And while he's out there, he's dangerous, and when he's dangerous, it's inspiring his teammates. So that's what I would do. I'm not going to question what Zane would do, because he has made some exceptional decisions in his time at Edgeworth, and it's just a very interesting decision for Zane to be able to make. But I know their relationship's a really good one. They'll sort that out between them, and Edgeworth will come out absolutely looking to win should they go through, without a doubt.
Well, that's my question. If it goes into extra time, you can't really be playing for ifs, though, can you? So we see Fabrizio gets past the challenge of Sessions. One-on-one here with Liam O'Dell. Did score last week, gets bumped to the tarmac, and he gets up wondering why he hasn't earned his side a free kick. Looked to be a pretty clear free kick there, CT. I don't know if you thought similar to I.
Yeah, you know, in those instances where it is a free kick, at least, just if you hold a little bit stronger, you're going to get it. You drop that easy, the referee thinks, all right.
And maybe a heavy touch, potentially. I'd have to have another look at it. But if James Cleal thought it was a heavy touch, well, before contact was made, he's probably less inclined to blow the free kick. But Michael Sessions, he was beaten all ends up by Fabrizio. Down the other end of the ground is Messenger. Corley. Now Josh Rose dropping one up the line towards Ollie Smith, who gave it away. Remington and now Waller onto Sutton. Very compact, and you can basically throw a blanket over that final third for both sides, as here's the free kick going the way of Edgeworth.
Yeah, and just the way Edgeworth will like it, throw a blanket over both, and that means that there's not many holes being opened up, and just chewing the minutes away they are, Edgeworth. But we mentioned Ashley Bolcombe before earlier, and we were collecting some money for him. There's a moving mountains for Ash Walk going on, and it's going to be on Friday 18th of October. It's at 3 o'clock. Now, why is this happening? It's because he's a former footballer, Ashley Tressida, and he was seriously injured at the beginning of the year, which has left him, unfortunately, in a wheelchair.
It's Jackson. And now Nathan Verity rushing up the line. Now Braden Crowley brought that down well, but then Josh Evans was strong and across. It's Aidan Gardner.
Now Ashley Tressida, so 5 of his friends are walking from McDonald Jones Stadium to the Central Coast Stadium. That's on the 18th of October. That's about 90 kilometres, and they're going to hope to finish it within 24 hours. No sleep. And just in time to lead the march with Ash. They'll be pushing him in as the Newcastle Jet supporters to the stadium for the Newcastle's first game of the season, which is the F3 Derby. Now, they'd like to invite everyone to walk the first 10 kilometres with them, including Ash, which will be led by Jet CEO Laurie McKinnon and Hit 106.9 Simon Baggs. They've asked me to come along too. I'm going to join them. So all you have to do is show up.
Free kick from Crowley.
Just show up with a gold coin donation, and that's what today was all about, collecting money. I don't know how much we've collected, but the people here have put their hands in their pockets, and it was a little bit flattering to be a part of that. So if you want to go, just turn up, and you can donate at Ashley Tressida's GoFundMe page. So if you can be a part of that, walk that 10 kilometres. It's going to be down to Dudley. I'm sure everything that we can do to help this fine Novocastrian would be highly appreciated.
Yeah, and you'll be collecting donations at Maitland tomorrow, as that ball just hung up in the breeze from Brock Messenger. Yeah, at Maitland at Cook Square Park. So if you're heading out tomorrow, bring some spare change, because you'll see CT with the bucket as Ollie Smith trying to seal this deal for Edgeworth. One goal will do that for them, and Lambton knocking that one over the line.
Yeah, and please do, and I'll have 2 or 3 of my children there, Sophie and Charlie, who'll be helping me out, and we'd love to see the generosity replicated from what we saw here today. So thanks for everyone who's donated and been a part of what we've been doing today for a very special young Novocastrian.
So while we have got a little break, I just heard Rod Lindsay call out to Keanu Moore, and he is having a chat now in front of us to Damien Zane and Rod Lindsay about what he's going to do And Adam Corley looks to be heading off the pitch, and that will be his final minutes out there.
So, Bart, you and I got a text from Peter Haynes. He was watching on Bar TV and said Braden Crowley told the ref that it wasn't a penalty when the two Lambton players kicked each other, and he told him it was one of his own players that kicked him. So Haynes is pointing out what top class that is, from Crowley. Like, that's top shelf. He's going straight over there. It's not a penalty. He's kicked me.
100%. And we have to give Braden Crowley credit for that, because his side's down 4-1, and some players would try and get every little bit going their way, and great sportsmanship from Crowley to say no. It was Luke Remington who I collided with, and it wasn't a penalty, so good on him for doing that. Nathan Verity.
Now, if it was Smudge, on the other hand, he'd be still on the ground, still claiming that someone else has hit him.
Well, the thing was, I was about to say, get the Benny Hill music, because it was comedic. It was a strike blocked by a teammate, and they both fell over. And then quickly it was a penalty. It was incredible. As Nathan Verity curls it across goal. Keanu Moore's touch was a heavy one, the first touch, but was able to rein it in and clear it away. Messenger. Here's Waller prodding it into the path of Brock Messenger, but it's beaten him over the line. His last goal came in Finland a couple of years back. Brock Messenger hasn't scored in the NPL just yet. Most recently was playing with Canterbury over in New Zealand, his homeland. Speaking of New Zealand, the Ollie Roos had a draw with the Ollie Whites last night at Wynn Stadium, and they'll be playing again on Monday at Campbelltown Stadium. Under 23s of Australia and New Zealand. I'll be heading down to that one, CT. Looking forward to that. Hopefully the Ollie Roos under Gary Van Egmond can qualify for the Olympics. These are a couple of friendlies before they get into their qualification, which will take place early next year. Cepho to Remington. Now Waller. Here's Keanu Moore. He's got a good record here at Arthur Eden Oval, goal-scoring wise. 2 goals in his last 2. He hasn't played here since 2016. It's been, of course, in Victoria with Bentley and Kingston City the past few seasons. Nathan Verity punches the ball into Crowley. Now Sutton. He's had some good chances in this match. Josh Sutton hasn't been able to finish any of them. Braden Crowley's touch too heavy, far too heavy, and Keanu Moore bounced. Messenger to Cepho. Here's Waller. Josh Evans just has an air swing with the head, but will bow back to do the defensive work. It's just a mechanical Edgeworth performance, isn't it, CT?
They're just doing everything they need to. They're just controlling the pace, controlling the majority of the possession, and they are just winding the minutes down, literally. They know that they don't have to go on the attack, and mostly they haven't really done so.
Yep, and heading towards a 5th consecutive grand final. Will it be against Maitland, who are trying to qualify for their first, or will it be Broadmeadow Magic, who will play in their 13th if they make it? So if Edgeworth do make it, it will be their 13th grand final. If Magic make it, their 13th as well. Who will it be lucky 13 for if those two meet? Not saying that Magic are going to get there, because they've got a tough tie with Maitland tomorrow. 2-2 that one. There's going to be so much riding on that as Wheeler tries to link up with Smith. Was he checked in the run? He thought he was. Waller got plenty under that into the breeze.
But I've got a question for you.
You need to put the mic up to your mouth, CT, when you want to.
That's on par with your yawn, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry
I know
about
you've
that.
been doing this for a while. Now, can I just say, before you go on, your first match on Bar TV Sports was actually 4 years ago. Here's a long bomb from Sam Maxwell. That is going to beat everyone over the line. And then Keanu Moore just kicks it almost over the fence to take a little bit more time out of the clock. I'll come back to that. So 4 years ago, your first match on Bar TV was the second leg of the semi-final. Here at Lambton, it was Lambton and Hamilton. And 4 years on, here we are. Can't believe that, CT.
You've got a yawn and I'm holding the microphone around my belly button. Yeah, we're going all right, aren't we? But I was just going to ask you, what happens to a frog's car when it breaks down? It gets towed away.
Yep. Deep breath as Aiden Gardner skips over the challenge of Michael Sessions. Has Ollie Smith in the middle. Good first touch from him. Couldn't hook it around towards Keanu Moore. Now Swancott. Aiden Gardner, gee whiz. Good flexibility there. That would have done your hamstring in, I think, CT.
Groin and probably thrown my hip out as well. But so just showing his commitment to the cause. Gardner just really getting himself through the middle of the park, just doing everything pretty comfortably.
And now Ollie Smith with the strike and Brad Swancott. He wants to keep a clean sheet in his final match here at Arthur Eden Oval. And what will probably be his final match for Lambton. Unless there's a miracle-like turnaround from here.
I just thought of one more part and then I'll stop. But I was just thinking of a smudge and he thinks that he's so smart. He told me that the onion is the only food that can make you cry, so I threw a coconut in his face.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's it. I'm out.
It's Aiden Gardner away from a couple. Plays a neat 1-2 with Ollie Smith. Was there a handball in there? Not to be. That is actually a decent one from you.
Oh, smudge.
Here's Rose. Here's Smith. And
we need to
Keanu Moore.
Yeah, he's back on the job.
I know. Once you get the giggles, you're in all sorts. Here's Moore on the spin, and here's Wheeler. But at the moment, there's just not much doing, is there? There just is not much doing, and down by 3 goals, Lambton just need one to give this match some kind of life. Because it is draining out of it quickly. Sessions. You're a player for Lambton, CT. What are you saying right now? You're the leader of Lambton Jaffas. You're the Michael Sessions out there. What are you saying to your side?
Well, you're keeping your side positive, that's for sure, but you're telling them now's the time to attack. We've got to get at them. We've got to create some opportunities. Teams tend to go long when that's the case, so you want to settle that, but also listen to whatever your coach has told you, particularly at half-time, about the shape that he wants you to deploy. And when you're following those instructions, carried out, don't panic, but make sure you're taking some risks, particularly in the top third, that you wouldn't take in any other times. From the other point of view, Edgeworth, just about keeping possession, holding the ball for longer periods and controlling the pace, which is exactly what they're doing. The experience of Wheeler, Rose, Evans, these are the guys that you really want in and around when you need that to happen.
And now it falls here for Fabrizio, and Brad Swancott with the save. Here's Ollie Smith, cuts it back across goal. And Fabrizio had a second bite at the cherry. Couldn't nudge it inside an open goal.
Well, big groans around the ground here with people just knowing, just wrapping it up, getting it over with if that goes in.
Bit of aerial ping pong for a moment there. Waller. And now Messenger. Kiwi links up with Anthony Wood. Wood to Waller. Nathan Verity with a lot of space over here on the left. He has his hands in the air. He wants the ball. Michael Sessions, Lambton skipper, decides where to go, and he Pushes the pass forward to Waller, and now Wood. Turn from Crowley. But there's just black and red shirts everywhere, CT. Eagles swarming Braden Crowley. And Edgeworth have dropped to 5 at the back here. So Will Bauer is playing it effectively a left fullback. Here's Maxwell. Now Sefo. Rolls it back to Waller. This defensive unit from Edgeworth. Locking Lambton away at the moment. Is there a slight opening? Sefo towards Messenger, and it was Will Bauer who cleared the ball away and is going to earn his side a free kick. I don't mind the creativity there from Sefo. Really good ball up and over the top. Just found a different way of getting through Edgeworth because playing the ball along the turf was not working.
Yeah, incredible skill from him, and his ability, he summed it up. He read it, looked for the timing and the run of his teammates, and just to be able to have that ability to loop it like that. He reminds me a lot of Tony Majerowski. Very similar player. Tony Madge, just incredibly skillful. You never know what he's going to do.
I was going to say, it was like futsal, wasn't it? That's what you see in futsal.
Yep.
That kind of manipulation of the ball. And that was really impressive from him. But here's Edgeworth now. Aidan Gardner, great tackle from Nathan Verity. Wheeler. And now off the chest of Keanu Moore.
Gardner copped a bit of a knock there in that exchange. He's looking to run it out. He's trying not to show any signs of pain there, but I know he copped one.
Tell you what, the similarities between Keanu Moore and Dan Fabrizio are there for all to see. So they've got different coloured boots, but from afar, very similar haircut. Sefo charging after the ball. Should have the strength to win out from Josh Rose, and does. Wood, under some pressure from Keanu Moore, smothered his pass.
Hearing off the bench for Lambton, Michael Bridges saying, Sesh, tell him to press for everything now. Everything forward, let's go.
And they must be looking back and thinking that 26-minute period, that is it. That's what cost them. Ollie Smith almost bearing down on goal. Strong work from Messenger. Now Pat Wheeler. And now Keanu Moore didn't quite unleash that left boot. Got the strike on target, but won't trouble Brad Swancott. Loves these big days, doesn't he, Brad Swancott? But it just didn't go his way last week. Nothing he could do about it, though. That strike from Will Bauer, no goalkeeper would have kept that out anywhere in the world. Here's Ollie Smith in a tangle with Messenger. So grand final next Sunday at Magic Park. Back at Magic Park after being at McDonald Jones Stadium for a couple of years. And while Northern wanted to make it a bit more professional, playing in that kind of environment, I think it is the right decision because the grand final is all about that atmosphere. And the atmosphere probably just wasn't there with 4,000 fans at the stadium.
No, I totally agree. I've never liked it. Be perfectly honest, at the stadium it just had no atmosphere whatsoever. Appreciate what was trying to be done, but it just didn't work. You go into a smaller stadium and you put 4,000 people in it, and it's happening, it's buzzing, and everyone has a great afternoon. And that's what we're looking forward to next weekend. Full house at Magic Park.
I just love those afternoons. Suburban ground, big crowd, wonderful atmosphere.
And people buzzing. It's a great spectacle, and get down there to see that. Bring your colours, your teams. 3 grades on. Different clubs will be involved. It's a fantastic day out.
So this free kick taken quickly by Waller, but Braden Crowley has jumped the gun. And this is just all playing into the Eagles' hands. This couldn't have gone more to the script for them.
A big game on tomorrow, Bart. Maitland, the premiers, they're at home against the visiting Broadmeadow Magic.
And it's going to be fiery, isn't it? We know the tension that's bubbling away under the surface between those two clubs, CT.
Well,
we
it
saw
was fiery
last week. Oh, it was fiery.
The teams were actually going at each other, and showed you what it meant to them, and they will be going at it again tomorrow.
And Ruben Zadkovic, I read his comments in the paper today about Magic heading into the match a little bit underdone, and of course they've had a few injuries this year, and also heading in as the underdogs, and that's exactly where he loves to be. Written off, 1v4, and the best is going to come out of Broadmeadow Magic tomorrow because they love those big days. Maitland are going to have to step up to the plate. We've seen them do it so often this year. Maitland have stepped up time and time and time again. Can they do it again tomorrow?
Well, I can't see how you can be labelled Broadmeadow as an underdog. I think they're a great side. They've got wonderful footballers within it.
So you're saying Broadmeadow are the favourites tomorrow?
Look,
because I think you're doing a disservice to Maitland. As much as I say Magic at the start of the season, yes, everyone would have expected them to finish higher than Maitland. I think you are doing Maitland a disservice by saying that Magic are the favourites, because they have had a great season. They've performed so well, and I think they deserve to be favourites after the season they've had. I don't think that's a tag that you should go into a match feeling like you don't deserve, because I think they do. Maitland at home, they've had a great record there, haven't lost there this season.
There's no doubt about that, but this is a semi-final, and Magic have got some big game players in there, and they'll be desperately hoping that John Majerowski is out there, because he's the guy that tends to score every time there's a reason to win. He seems to find one for them, and the inclusion of Justin Broadley back into the side, I love his work rate. He just does so much work that not a lot of people sort of appreciate how much he does. He's everywhere. He's winning balls for them in the middle of the park, and he unloads it, wins it, unloads it. So they'll welcome him back on a pitch against his former club that's big, and as fit as he is, he's a big inclusion. So those two guys alone, if they're a part of that group tomorrow, there's just so much attack in Broadmeadow. Maitland, without a doubt, they're certainly deserving to be the premiers, and if Michael Bolch is listening right now, he'd love me talking up Magic.
Here's Ollie Smith firing away from distance. Yes, well, two coaches that are enjoying playing their side's chances down in Michael Bolch and Ruben Zadkovic. And if you have just joined us and you're wondering about this match, well, Edgeworth have a 4-1 aggregate advantage, and it's been a pretty dull spectacle. And I'm just going to say this, CT, this is why I'm not a fan of the two-legged final series. This is why I'm not a fan of it, because one leg can be very boring if the first leg is won by a hefty margin by one side. I know what happened in the Champions League with Liverpool, as Ollie Smith, the assistant Ellie Hayes, has just dropped her flag, but it's back up. I know what happened in the Champions League and how great was that, but in terms of a final series, I just feel like it's better to have one-off knockout matches. Obviously, you get the major semi first up, but the rest of the matches are knockout matches, and I just feel that works a whole lot better than having a match like this, which is effectively been decided from the outset.
The format that I love is the 1v2, go straight in the grand final, whoever wins that.
Yep, I love that.
The loser plays the winner out of
3 and 4.
3 and 4, yeah, and that sort of format is one that does get everybody on the edge and gets everybody buzzing.
Now, I 100% agree, and that's where I think the two-legged final series just lets itself down. Days like these, and the first leg usually is pretty cagey as well. So, the second leg, it really can only come to life in the back end. So, That's what we've got, and Edgeworth pushing forward. And while they're probably already through to the grand final, they'd love a goal here at Arthur Eden Oval. Rose, he did score here last year in the semi-finals. Couldn't find the ball to allow Edgeworth to score their 5th of the tie. Keanu Moore doesn't mind a goal here at Arthur Eden. Will he have 3 and 3? Well, he's going to give it. Well, I thought that came off Keanu Moore. I was surprised as to why Brad Swan got rushed out. He just wanted to get involved maybe in his final game for the Jaffas. He's out of goal now. Fabrizio finds Ollie Smith. Just dwelled on possession a little long. And now Will Bauer. Does he take it on from distance? He doesn't. Probably the most entertaining passage that we've had this afternoon.
Well, I know Swanee's 40, but I haven't seen him move that since,
Can we have
he's
more?
in his 20s. Yeah.
Come on, Brad, give us some more of that as ball hung up towards the back post. Keanu Moore has the overlapping run of Tyson Jackson. Archie Finn just getting ready to come on for Edgeworth. The youngster who scored a hat-trick in round 16 for Edgeworth against Hamilton. And if you're thinking of tuning out, I know we're heading towards the final minutes. Don't, because after full time we have got a Bar TV First coming up.
But this is going to be
It's going to be big. It's going to be big. So just stick around. Archie Finn replaces Dan Fabrizio. Shakes the hand of Damien, saying good performance from him. Solid effort. Some more game time in the legs, and we're going to see Dylan Bozanovsky come onto the park for the Jaffas.
Messengers have been flooding in from the production team, wondering what it is what's going on here, wondering if it's all safe, how anyone's going to be offended. And I said I can't promise anything. Just stay tuned.
Archie Finn cut that ball back across goal. Wheeler nods the ball up. Good height from Luke Remington. Gee, would have a good vertical jump, wouldn't he? Wheeler. Jackson and Gardner. Wheeler. And it was this man who turned the tie last week with a absolutely brilliant goal. Here he is again, Will Bauer. Well blocked by Bozanovsky. His brother will be on the bench for Maitland tomorrow. Alex for that semi-final second leg. Backup goalkeeper to Matt Trott at Maitland. And now Josh Evans flowing forward. He'll let that run on Ollie Smith, but it's going to beat them both over the line. So straight after full time, hang around for a big announcement. Bigger than a proposal, CT. It's not a proposal live on Bar TV. Crowley. Looking up and sees Jackson ahead of him, and he's trying to bend it. Sam Maxwell with the block. Fell nicely to Kai Bradley, who's out there in 6 now for Lambton. Youngster previously, he's been through the Jets youth system and also last year was with Charlestown. Kai Bradley in number 6 for the Jaffas. One of these youngsters being given an opportunity with a lot of injuries. And they've suffered to their first team, and Nathan Verity being allowed just to flow forward. Found Bradley. Neat 1-2 play between those two. Verity hung it up. Sam Maxwell cut it out in the air. Ball delivered into the box again. Josh Lowe took it comfortably in the air. Lambton's attack during the regular season, the 5th best, just 39 goals during the regular season. And it just has hurt them. They have relied heavily on Braden Crowley with 15. Next best goal scorers, Josh Sutton and Luke Remington with 5 apiece. And while they are unbeaten in their last 4 here at Arthur Eden against Edgeworth, the score line stays the same. It will go to 5. They need a whole lot more than that. They need victory. And Edgeworth, they have a good record against Lambton of late. Not here at Arthur Eden. 3 wins in their last 4 against the Jaffas. that only defeat coming 2 weeks ago. The 3-0 scoreline, which ended any hopes of Edgeworth stealing the premiership. In the end, it didn't matter because Maitland won. So up goes Archie Finn. Wheeler. Is there going to be a goal this afternoon? Hasn't been a scoreless draw between these two since 2014. Bolzanovsky hooks it away. Wheeler and Bauer just playing a little game amongst themselves there for a moment. Rose to Finn. Cepho now the touchback to Tom Waller, who was bumped by Wheeler, and free kick has been given by James Clear. Less than 10 minutes now in this second leg. Not too much to speak about this afternoon, CT.
This one, Bart, has been really a bit of a dull affair, to be honest. Edgeworth playing the smart football. They're just coming out, as I've said before, controlling the pace, possession.
But
haven't been overly concerned at the top end. You've seen them definitely press further in the past, but in this occasion, they're just doing what needs to be done.
And Josh Slow, well, he just kept his feet inside the 18-yard box there. Now, just wanted to touch on the entertainment level. We said this match hasn't reached any great heights, but after full time, it is going next level. Next level entertainment.
Well, we have said we've got something special going on, and it is special, but I don't want to... It's like a good movie. You tell everyone how good it is, and they tell you it's crap. So I've got to keep things in perspective. There's no nudie runs going on or anything like that. But
no, it'll be all PG rated. It's PG rated.
Well, no guarantees there either.
It's definitely...
My phone's buzzing again from the guys back in the production team.
Here's Ollie Smith.
Sorry, boys.
And Keanu Moore craning the neck. Finn was given a good tug there by Sessions. He'd love a goal in this semi-final series. Still the wait goes on. For the ball to find the back of the net. We haven't even had a ball in the back of the net. A goal that's been disallowed at all. The ball has not gone into the back of the net this afternoon at all. Very few chances. Edgeworth have suffocated Lambton. They've been the boa constrictor this afternoon. Gardner. Now Moore just continue the ball's run with a little flick. Here's Wheeler. Now that they know they're basically through to the grand final to Edgeworth, maybe now just push forward and try and nick one for themselves. Brad Swancott took that one out of the air. Will he finish with a clean sheet, Swancott?
Well, he'd love to, and what a career he has had, Brad Swancott.
Now Jackson, cross goal. Bolzanovsky's back of the neck, and now Ollie Smith, he says it took a deflection. Not the first time he's been appealing for a corner this afternoon, CT, and it's not going to be.
So this man on screen has been a powerhouse for Newcastle football in general without going to specifics. What a great player he's been through his career, and 40 years old. His last game this afternoon, a very long and successful career. Brad Swancott, he's just had success after success, and you want him in goals. He's been a player that can play with his ball at his feet. He's acting like a keeper sweeper, some people say.
We'll get a look at him here. It's Keanu Moore. He's bearing down on goal. Can he curl one in here at Arthur Eden again? Well blocked by the Jaffas defence. Swancott didn't have to get into action. Sutton didn't find the pass, and Pat Wheeler with the intervention. The crowd encouraging him to give the ball. He didn't do so, and now Edgeworth with another opportunity down the other end of the ground as this match just opens up slightly. Sessions with the header away here. Brad Swancott was with the Breakers and Newcastle United from 95 to 02. He's played with Bankstown, Apia, Parramatta, Manly, Lake Macquarie in 2011. I'm pretty sure that was your side, CT. And then Hamilton from that year on to 2014, and then from Lambton from 15 to the current day. Had that goalkeeping switch with Danny Ireland, who was playing for Lambton at that point. Swancott for Hamilton. They made the switch. Here's Isaac Sefo, and he's going to be replaced by Aidan Halpin, the son of Troy Halpin. Gets an appearance in the semi-final this afternoon.
And nephew of Scott Halpin, another wonderful player, also based in Western Australia, in Perth. What a big moment for him, coming on in a semi-final.
Yeah, really exciting for him. He scored 2 goals in the under-20s this year as Aidan. He was with Edgeworth, actually, from 2016 to 17. So against his former club this afternoon. Tom Waller with the intervention. Bradley on to Remington, and now Josh Sutton. He's got some pace, we know of that. Can he use Crowley? Josh Evans is going to try and run him out of the 18-yard box, and, well, he made him look silly in the end, didn't he, Josh Evans? That's what he can do to people.
Well, it's why you want him in your side. He's just all class, Evans. He made something very difficult look seemingly easy. And what's amazing about that is that Sutton's speed, and he just used his body and angled him out beautifully just to diffuse that attack. A lot of other players, he's straight round him and on goals, but shows the class of Rose.
And obviously to be in the RAF, you've got to be fit, as Josh Evans is, but apparently he was doing extra sessions. Now, this is a man who also was pushed aside by Hamilton and Broadmeadow Magic in 2013 because he came from Queensland to the Hunter to start work, and he asked Broadmeadow and Hamilton whether they would take him on, and they said no, and he signed for Edgeworth after playing a season with Nelson Bay. Now, I'm not sure whether that was because their squads were full. Don't want to stitch them up that much, but they did say that there weren't any spots available. They wouldn't take him on. As here's Keanu Moore hanging it up at the back post. Archie Finn maybe just snatched at it a little bit, because that's the thing. We know the player point system. I'm not sure whether it was back in, whether it was in back then. I don't think it would have been. Was the player point system around in your day, CT?
I don't think it was. I think it might have been just after. Either way, he's certainly made his mark at Edgeworth and been a huge part of their success.
It's Crowley takes on Jackson, cuts it across, came off the knee of Sutton. And now Ollie Smith, he's going to reel it in, and I'll tell you what, is that a free kick? Surely, maybe. Well, I'm not going to say maybe, I'm going to say surely that's a free kick, CT.
The noise around the ground is going to indicate which way that goes. He was on target. He's looking like his leg was on the downward swing, which would indicate whether it was in or outside of the box is probably the bigger question.
Well, it would have been a red card for Brock Messenger. I thought free kick and red card, last man challenge for sure, but none of those occurred, and now Ollie Smith is going to rush down towards Brad Swancott's goal once again, and this time it will be a penalty, will it? Yes. James Cleal took an age to decide. In the end, it will be a penalty, and I tell you what, CT, this is great because it gives Brad Swancott a final chance to make a penalty save in a match which isn't going to mean anything now because Lambton are gone. Brad Swancott gets a chance here to make himself, or just show what he's made of, because he has been such an outstanding goalkeeper at the top of the game for basically 25 years. 95 he began his career with the Breakers, and we're now in 2019, finishing off with the Lambton Jaffas at 40 years of age.
You expect the kicker to get this, whatever happens. It'll be a memory for Swanee if he saves it.
Well, here is Smith, and Brad Swancott makes the save. The ball is in the back of the net anyway, but that is exactly what Brad Swancott is made of. Made the save. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. But then Ollie Smith was able to coolly put in the rebound for his 14th of the season. Edgeworth are on their way to a 5th consecutive grand final. But not a bad moment for Brad Swancott to end on. I know the ball ended up in the back of the net, but he saved the initial spot kick.
Oh, look, and you know what? That could come off your knee and go out for a throw-in. It could go anywhere. Just the fact that it's bounced straight back to the Edgeworth attack just goes to show Swancott, 40 years old, what a keeper he's been throughout his career, and he'll be missed as a player at this level, at least, and he'll remember that save and what it almost was. And again, Bart, don't leave us. The end of this game, minutes to go. Going to try and see if we can have a chat to Josh Evans.
Nathan Verity with the chest down. Now Halpin riding a couple. Crowley will run away from him, and now Pat Wheeler. Hayden Gardner. The ball running away towards the sideline. Nathan Verity will hook this one up the line towards Wheeler. Now Gardner. So they're almost there, Edgeworth. And as CT said, don't go anywhere after full time. Big announcement to make. Wheeler. A goal that Lambton desperately wanted never came. And Edgeworth now 5-1 up on aggregate. Can they make it 6-1 with Tyson Jackson rushing into the box? Halpin with the clean-up work for Lambton. Releases Bradley. Could Lambton grab a late consolation here? Josh Sutton. Here's some space for Luke Remington, but Will Bauer shut it down. Just dropping back and doing a lot of defensive work in this second half, Will Bauer. Now he's going to try and pick Archie Finn up in the front line. And Daniel McBrain, CT, will get a final match for Edgeworth next Sunday to finish off a distinguished career. What a way to go out for him, winning a grand final, if Edgeworth can do so next Sunday. And now Keanu Moore, the ball is in the arms of Brad Swancott. Look at him, the intensity from him, even with the match gone. Maxwell. Now Finn, out-muscled by Halpin.
Swancott just showing he might be in the final minute or two of his career, but he's still firing it up.
Evans. Now Wheeler on to Bauer. And what a pleasure it has been to watch him over the last few seasons. Because he has produced some incredible matches. I remember our first match commentating CT, Lambton against Hamilton, back in 2015. He was amazing in goals that afternoon for Lambton, with Hamilton coming at them. In the end, Hamilton won the match won the tie, equalised in extra time through Reece Cooper, but Swancott saved Lambton late in that one. And now Verity, the touch towards Remington, tried to bust through the gap. Now Crowley. Verity. And Braden Crowley's season will finish here. He still has aspirations for the top level in the A-League, and he hasn't done those chances any harm this year. But it's a 5th consecutive grand final for the Eagles, and they will target a first championship since 2016 when they play at Magic Park next week. Down on personnel, the Jaffas, they have put up a stirring fight, but it just wasn't enough this afternoon, and it won't be their year in 2019 And for the second year in a row, they go down to the Edgeworth Eagles. Not quite in the same dramatic fashion as we witnessed last year, but it's the same result all the same. Full time at Arthur Eden Oval, it finishes Lambton Jaffas 0, Edgeworth Eagles 1, and on aggregate a 5-1 result the way of the Eagles. Ollie Smith with the only goal of the afternoon from the penalty spot, his 14th of the campaign. He'll get a chance to add to that number next Sunday afternoon. And CT is going to grab someone for us downstairs. Remember, big announcement coming up in the next 5 minutes, so stick with us. We'll wait and see what that is. It does involve the Eagles captain, Josh Evans. He's going to have a chat maybe to CT. Shortly, CT. CT, just give us your final thoughts. While you're down there and you're on camera, you're in the limelight, tell us your thoughts on this one.
Sure. Look, Edgeworth have done everything they had to today to get the job done. They wound the clock down, they held possession. Everything was in order for them. They just basically didn't need to concede, so they didn't. I like the way they held possession and the control that they had on the ground. Having said that, they're through to the grand final. They'll be very excited. I'm going to see if we can grab a hold of Josh Evans. Congratulations, mate. You've made it into the grand final. Look, today we're just talking about, it was all about not conceding.
Yep. Yeah, look, we came out, we had a plan. I mean, we know how fast they are and how good they are up front, so just respect that today and play like we want to win. I mean, if we came out defensively all game, we probably wouldn't have gone so well, so that was our plan.
By keeping possession, like you've got some experience, Wheeler, Rose, yourself, all in and around the back line. How important was that to controlling, what was going on in the game?
Yeah, I mean, Paddy Wheeler and Aidan Gardner in the middle, just controlling the tempo. We didn't want to go too fast and just stay composed because we didn't want to get into a battle if they got one.
Yeah, okay. And how's it feel now going to the grand final? Because just unusually right now, I'm going to say I'm slightly distracted, but Edgeworth in the grand final, this is another one. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, it's been a crazy 5 years, just year after year, another challenge, and the last two semi-finals have felt like grand finals, so hopefully we can go into this one with some motivation. We've lost the last two.
Yeah, okay. And finally, do you have a preference on who you play, whether it's Broadmeadow or whether it's Maitland?
Oh, look, they've both played very well this year, obviously both in the top four, and Maitland's had a great run, and we know Broadmeadow from last year, so yeah, no preference, just looking forward to it and having a good week in preparation.
Okay, cool. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's a bit of extra energy happening right now, and there's some stuff going on. Any feelings from you? Stay focused on the camera, of course.
I mean, there's a broadcaster that's been around the traps a while, done some great stuff, and I think that might have something to do with it.
No. Is it unusual for your wife to be on the ground?
Yeah, she has her moments.
No, I'm talking actually, don't turn around, but on the ground?
No, not often, but...
No, what about family members?
Yes. We're expecting one, so we don't know male or female yet, so I have an assumption it's something to do with that.
Well, my job is being particularly good because I've held you that way. You might want to turn around right now.
Oh, wow.
And your wife, Tess, I think, Tess, if we can get you to come over for a second.
Oh, wow.
Oh, in fact, just really quick, Tess. This is even more fun. So this is Tess Evans. Now, Tess, just give us a quick rundown because you're going to highly embarrass.
Oh, he's going to cry, isn't he?
So can you just tell us what's happening really quickly?
Josh is going to kick the ball and it's going to say if we're having a girl or a boy. So the next edgy captain maybe for the W League? Who knows? Who
knows? And let's just be clear on this. Yeah. You guys, both of you don't know what the sex of the baby is.
No idea.
Well, let's get into it. Let's go and enjoy. Let's enjoy this. A first on Bar TV, but...
Yeah, CT, this is very interesting. I don't know what your prediction's going to be as we swing around here. What are you feeling? You feeling someone in the air?
I'm feeling a girl.
Okay.
Here we go.
How good's this? Oh! So, that is a boy, CT.
Well, just don't ask me to predict the grand final next week. How good is this? This is just absolutely wonderful for the. It just shows you what a great club Edgeworth is, and the fact they want to do it here with their Edgeworth family. And what a great fun thing it is to do. But
Absolutely fantastic. CT, we will swing around as Josh tries to clear the blue powder off him. Tomorrow, we're going to go up to Maitland. We're going to try not to get blown away at Cook Square Park. Just tell me your thoughts. I'm really excited about this. Today, a bit of a dull match, let's be honest. 4-1 Edgeworth coming in. We always knew it was going to be difficult against a Lambton side under strength. Tomorrow, it's 2-2. Whoever wins is going through to the grand final. And if it's level, we could well be going into penalties and extra time, I should say, first, and then penalties. Yeah,
it'll be a different game. Both teams will be defending really, really tightly just to make sure they don't want to concede. However, they're going to be, like we saw last week, it's likely to be fiery. It's likely to have some heavy clashes in there. I think Broadmeadow are going to be, look, they need to win. They just have that mindset they're going to win. Maitland, look, they're the premiers on a perfect pitch. I'm really looking forward to it as well.
Love your alliteration, CT. And we get a special guest with us in commentary tomorrow as well.
Yeah, Smudge turns up for the big games, especially Magic will be there, so that'll be good.
All right, we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for your company today. Catch you soon.